Okay, my gorgeous beings. So I want to have a look at what Spirit wants to share with us for the week. I'm hearing fire signs, a fire sign circling back. I'm hearing waiting on news, good news, so you can get the ball rolling. For many of you, I see that news coming in Cancer season. For some of you, specifically June. And for some of you, a Cancer is delivering this news. For someone, I'm seeing the house within 6 weeks or in 6 weeks on the dot. So getting the house, getting the home within those 6 weeks or on the 6-week mark. There's a fresh start coming in. Someone feels like they've had enough of the trials and tribulations. That's exactly how I'm hearing it. I've had enough. Someone's going to be starting a whole new life, literally like in September. Just like picking up and moving, or picking up, leaving a job, just deciding like I've had enough of this mundane life that's not even mine. I'm living this for somebody else, or I'm living this unhappily. I'm not where I want to be. And so I want to start over. Kind of getting that vibe here. Oh, another 9. Could be a Virgo. A lot of soul searching going on. I just heard who's here, who's leading who? Who's leading who? Feels like an energy of who are you doing this for? What are you doing this for? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it for you? Is it to people please? Is it to continuously present as if you're happy when you're not? Or maybe you are happy. Maybe you're doing it for you. Maybe you're doing it for you and the world, right? So just this question of why are you doing what you're doing? Because some of you are at your breaking point where you can't keep up the charade anymore. You're not happy about something. Something feels misaligned, and you've been trying to save face and maintain this, you know, appearance of happiness. That's not true. That's not real. And so shit's gonna hit the fan, because it always does when things are not, you know, rooted in truth. So part of you feels that. Part of you already feels the breaking down. And breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. Sometimes you need to be broken down by spirit, by the disillusionment, by people seeing through you, by you seeing through yourself in order for you to break through. So I feel like wherever you are on the spectrum, some of you are being truthful to who you are. Some of you are, you know, doing the best that you can, remaining as authentic as you can to yourself, to your life, and you still feel freaking broken down. That happens too. Sometimes we break down because we're trying to do it all. We're trying to handle it all. We're trying to carry it all for ourselves, for others, for everybody. And it gets to a point where we just can't do it anymore. And then we have to circle back to that why. Like, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? So you're realizing how much you've been carrying. Like, sometimes you don't even realize it till you sit down, right? I mean, this is like a metaphorical sense, but also kind of like in a literal sense. It's like you sit down and you're like, damn, I was just carrying a lot. Or damn, I've been walking for a long time. You know what I mean? That's when your feet start hurting, your back starts hurting, and you're like, wow, that was a lot. I didn't even realize how much it was when I was going through it. And that's the thing. Some of us have been carrying for so long, walking for so long, that it's not until we're forced to sit down that we realize, like, that was a lot. And for some of us, this has been our like entire life experience. So you sit down, you get a dose of peace, and you're like, what is this? Or you reach this point of relaxation and you're like, this is boring, right? Maybe not even in a conscious sense, maybe in a subconscious sense. And you're like, I'm used to chaos. I'm used to carrying it all. I'm used to being the one who everybody depends on. Like, who am I if people can't depend on me? Who am I if I'm not in constant flow and constant movement? What am I? How am I worthy if I'm not always doing something? If I'm not always contributing to the conversation? If I'm not always posting, showing up, making the call, taking the initiative? And so these are some of the things rising to the surface. Like, you're really questioning, especially with this soul searching energy, like, who am I outside of what I do, what I carry, how I show up? And that shit can get scary. When you sit down at the end of the day and it's quiet and all you have is you and your thoughts, no distractions. Some of us don't know who we are or how to be or how to think. We panic. And then we fall back into this cycle of distractions, overgiving, overdoing, fighting to be seen, valued. But yeah, this week has the potential to provide us with a whole lot of clarity. And sometimes clarity hurts. Sometimes clarity forces us to get deep with ourselves, with others, deep in the truth. Like, what is our why? And who are we when no one's watching? What do we actually enjoy outside of what everybody else thinks or suggests or wants or claps for? Who would we be if no one was clapping? Or if we weren't attached to our jobs, our titles, our roles, and so forth. So a lot of epiphanies, a lot of these thoughts being forced almost upon us in this space of reflection. For some of you, you're being forced into this reflection. For others of you, you're just fed up with the merry-go-round and you want real. You want what's real, and you're like, well, in order to have real, I have to be real. And it's like, where am I not being real with myself, with others? Some of you are just so tired of keeping up the charade. Some of you are friends with people who don't even really know you. Some of you are surrounding yourself with family, with coworkers, with strangers who don't really know you or know like a part of you that you choose to see. And I don't know, it just feels like you just want to be more free, because freedom is just being exactly who you are without forcing it, without overthinking it, without making sure that this person continues to see you in this light that they fell in love with you under. And it's just like, it just becomes so much to the point where you can't take it anymore. And it seeps out one way or the other. It translates into dis-ease in the body. It turns into restless nights, migraines, OCD, low self-confidence, burnout, misalignment, right? When you're not being true to who you are and you keep on fighting to make sure that you maintain this certain validation, you know, from this certain person, or, you know, things just look a certain way all the time. Eventually it's gonna catch up to you. So this week is allowing you opportunities to identify your boundaries, set those boundaries, experiment with being true to your word, true to your desires, true to your character, and really just getting into curious dialogue with yourself. Like, who am I really? And then the other part of it is just living, right? Because there's something to be said for reflection, right? Asking the questions, answering the questions truthfully, you know, finding yourself. And then the other part of it being throwing all that logic to the side, throwing all that labeling to the side, and just being. Because it's in our candidness that we are exactly who we are, right? Because really, when you think about it, if you're doing all this thinking and shit, like, how are you actually, you know, showing up as you organically are, right? Oh. So I don't know if this is making sense at this point. I'm just like purely channeling, but it's a week that wants to wake you up. And for some of you, it's you can't stop it. It's just like this wave of, I can't take it anymore. I can't keep this up. I can't keep doing this. Something has to change. I have to change. I have to face the truth. I have to be a truth. And a lot of this is because true love, true friendship, true blessings are on the other side of this, literally knocking on the door. But they can't meet a half-ass you. They can't meet a fake you. They have to meet a realer version of you. So you have to get clear about where it is that you're not being real. And most of you know this already, but the next step is doing something about that. Like, you know where you're not being real with yourself and or with others. And the next step is to be courageous enough to be yourself. And sometimes that looks like cutting people out, cutting behaviors out, cutting pretentiousness out, cutting the bullshit out. Sometimes it looks like initiating a new conversation, opening yourself up to a new friendship, shifting your priorities, your boundaries, your preferences. Because some of you are purposely gravitating towards people, places, and things that are going to keep things easy for you. Going to keep you in this little box where the people, places, and things around you don't care about your growth. They're not going to challenge you to grow, to be real. They're just going to continue to live alongside you, being fake or being a lower vibration of yourself that could be a higher vibration. So the challenge is to step it up, to step your standards up, to step your environment up, to step yourself up. your expectations up. And that's a lot to handle at once. It's a lot to juggle. It's a lot to realize. It's humbling. And this is why some of you are so goddamn tired, because you're like, I want to do this, but it's so much work. Where do I start? I'm comfortable here, but yet I'm uncomfortable here, but yet it's kind of more work to be more real, or to challenge myself more, or to step outside of my comfort zone, or to show myself more. What could that look like for my friendships, my people, my family? What's going to happen? You know, where am I going to go? Where's my identity going to go? And Spirit is just like, breathe. Take it a step at a time. Take it a conversation at a time. Take it a day at a time. And keep circling back to who you really are. In the beginning, it feels like one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Being exactly who you are. But ultimately, it is the most freeing experience you can have, to just be able to be without being afraid to be that. Doors will open, relationships will widen open, blessings will flow through, and life will really start to improve in all ways. But it takes time, it takes work, it takes uncomfortable play sometimes. It takes circling back again and again and again. It takes unlearning most of what you've learned. It takes a lot sometimes, but this is what your soul wants. This is what you truly want. To be who you truly are amongst people who truly love you for you, and vice versa, right? So lots here. Let me know. Sending you guys a lot of love. Let me know if any questions, comments, concerns. How are you dealing with this? Does this resonate with you? What's going on? Chat with us. Vent with us. Brag with us. We love you. Talk to you soon.